Welcome to the biggest influences. This is the real Joe Rogan.
What is your writing process like?
Now I've become way more diligent. So like before I would just go up and riff on stage, and now it's harder for me to get up. I make sure I go 3 nights a week, and I got to do at least 4 spots each of those nights. So I can get to about 12, which I think is like a good amount of time to kind of like go. And then off nights, I have to also work. So I just have to talk. I either talk to myself. I'll call up one of my buddies and I'll be like, hey, what are you working on? Hey, let's go. Just tell me what your things are. Then I'll tell ideas that I have and like try to flesh out how I feel about it. Because I can't write the bit until I know how I feel. And sometimes it takes me a little bit to feel.
So your process is like just a lot of thinking about ideas.
And talking to just people like, about stuff. We have to just talk. Like getting, I think that's why I enjoy podcasting. It's like, it's getting to how I feel about a thing. And you say a bunch of things that are funny and absurd and crazy and salacious on the way.
For sure.
But what is my core feeling about this issue?
Right.
And once I'm at that core, then everything emanates from the core. But if I can't get to the core, I just have some misdirection that like I don't even believe in.
Right.
Once I get to the meat and potatoes, it flows. Everything just kind of like...
Yeah, you find that zone. You find that area where you're supposed to exist in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can write from it much easier. I can riff from it much easier because I feel like I'm being honest with the audience. Like every line is honest. It might not be funny yet, but you know I'm being honest. You know that I'm telling you how I feel about this thing. And I think that they'll attach themselves to that. And then if I can catch you or I stumble across something, it can hit. But I need to know what I feel about it, and I can't write about things that I don't care. Like the idea of like being like and God bless them, but like the late night writers where you just like, they throw you some shit and you got to write a joke about it. My brain doesn't work like that.
That's like living off oatmeal for the rest of your life. That's like, you can stay alive, Andrew, but you're going to eat plain oatmeal.
Some guys fucking listening right now.
Plain oatmeal for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta care, Joe.
No,
I gotta
of course,
really fucking care.
That's because you care about what you do, and that's why you're so funny. It's we all have to care about what we do, and you have to. I think everybody does it in different ways. You know.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in the writing process.
Yeah. Why? What is yours? You just go, right? Like you'll just sit in front of the laptop and just write stream of conscious, right?
I think that's important. I don't think it's necessary because some of the greats don't do it. But if I was going to teach a class on creating stand-up, I mean, look, it's not like I'm the best stand-up in the world, so I'm not like I'm the best qualified to do this. But if I was given this task to do that, I would say you should do all those things.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that keeps you from writing.
Yeah.
Like why don't you write?
Yeah.
And if you like to think about things and talk about things, but what about sitting and talking to yourself about a thing and writing it? And there's a very specific mindset that takes place for me when I'm in front of the keyboard and I'm writing an essay on something. I can type, so I don't have to look at the keys, which is nice. I don't type great, but I type okay.
Enough, yeah.
And I type enough. And so I can just zone in on the page and I'm thinking about every word much longer than it takes to type that word. Or rather, it takes, it's like if I had to write something out, if you're writing out a word, it's so much more time to write it out than it is just think about that word.
So now you're chewing on it while you're writing it out.
Yeah, so as you're writing each individual word, you're pausing in time.
Yeah.
And you're in a time lapse. And you get to consider each and every possible way you would say something from that word while you're writing that word.
Yeah.
And there's a physical task of doing that with your keys and your fingers that makes you concentrate.
Yes.
Because it fires up your synapses and makes you think that you're doing this with your fingers. It's kind of exciting.
Yes.
Especially if you have a tactile keyboard. See, like I use a keyboard that has a lot of keystroke. Yeah, it's like got a lot of room.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I work with a ThinkPad.
Yeah, Now, do
because
you
they like clickety click, so you feel it in your fingers. So it's this tactile thing,
Yeah.
and then the words are up there, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the words,
Yeah.
and then other things come to me.
do you find that you you speak differently when you write
Yes,
than when you talk to a person?
right, definitely. Well, it's not natural
Yeah.
when you write. It's not clean. But what you do is you take these bullet points from these various things that you wrote out and just say them how you would say them.
Yeah.
Say them how you would say them when you're right there.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't rely on writing to create great jokes,
But the ideas
but
can
the
come from that.
ideas. It's a farm for ideas.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I need to have that moment. For me, it's not sitting down, but it's like, okay, there's a weird meditative state that I can get to if I'm running and I have a song that I know well enough where I can tap into my subconscious, but not too well where the song bores me.
Right.
And I get into a weird state. And sometimes when I'm just like running, like, I hate it and it's awful, whatever. And then sometimes I get into this state where I can like lock in and like create these other scenarios, and I kind of like exist in these scenarios. And I imagine this is what like the super elite runners probably can access this for 26 miles or
Right.
something like that. Like I can't do that, and I can't tap in every time. But when I can tap into that state, I can like create these like worlds that I exist in. And sometimes these lines come up, these ideas come up, these curiosity comes up. There's like a part of my brain that now can flourish because other parts of my brain are accessed.
So it like hits when you're breathing heavy,
Yeah,
when you
it's-
start sweating.
It's like my brain is occupied by like maintaining this pace, which is probably pretty fast, but not so fast where I can't concentrate. But that's occupied there. And then another part of my brain is occupied by the music. And sometimes I'll just replay the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
But there's a
love doing
state,
that.
right? Something
Yeah.
happens and it's like, I don't know what the fuck it is. And I wish I could like lock in on it, you know, like, and just exist in that for 3 hours a day or something. But when I can, thoughts become really clear and ideas become really clear. And sometimes they're fucking shit. And then sometimes they're like really interesting. And I can replay these scenarios and think of like an interesting comeback or like this really self-deprecating thing that happened. And it's just like, I'll literally hop off the treadmill, sweaty as fuck, dripping all over my phone, write the idea and then get back on. But I don't know if that's a good strategy for doing it, but these are the different scenarios to access that part of the brain that I almost feel like is always working. Like, I don't know. I always felt like comedy exists and then you just kind of find it. I don't think I've created any comedy. I think it's there and I just kind of like, this is stupid, but like, you know, like with, what is it? The constellations. It's like the stars are there, but somebody looked at them and they're like, ooh, that kind of looks like a belt. Ooh, that
Yeah.
kind of looks like a dipper.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know what you're saying.
that's kind of what I think with a lot of these ideas. It's like all the things are there, and you're just kind of like connecting these little dots.
Well, I think the more you look at it like that, the more it becomes available to you too. Because I think one of the traps of the human mind is that when you get good at something, your ego inflates and you think it's about you and you're just a special thing and you're better than everybody and there's a way that you could do it that nobody can fuck with and you know, and there's a thing that's like a normal thing that people do.
Yeah.
And I think that invades your creative process.
Yeah. You create an expectation for yourself.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, that's why I took some time away. It was like, I just wanted to create, like, I don't let any friends come see me. I don't let anybody come see me. Like, when I'm in creation mode, it's so weird because obviously the people will come out, but like, I want some time for me.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to be there thinking like, oh God, is my wife going to be upset that I say this thing? Or, because that can stops the tag that might be too far, it might be too wild, or it might be perfect, or like, okay, I can find, like, I want to create and not have a fucking care in the world. You know, I don't know. You said something to me yesterday that was like, you don't want to be any more famous. And it was like, it's a wild thing to say, but I get it. Because it's like, the more that comes with it, maybe the more restriction you feel.
Well, you're more susceptible to criticism. You're more susceptible to people being upset with you. You're more susceptible to people thinking that it's not fair. Because it's not fair. There's no fair. That's what's weird about life. So the weirdest things. Like, it doesn't necessarily make sense what becomes successful and what's not, and who's making money and who's not. It's not about how much effort you're putting in. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's like it's a weird game we're all playing.
Yeah.
You know? And the more successful you get, and they're like, would you want to be the richest guy in the world? Like, what the fuck is that? Is he living any better than number 39? They leave 39 alone. 39 is probably worth $5 billion. That dude's chilling.
What do they say about
They don't say jack shit about that guy. That guy's eating filet mignon and drinking Dom Perignon.
Same jets,
Yeah.
same hotels,
Having a great ass time.
great time, same Instagram models,
Exactly the same shit.
like with no scrutiny.
Nothing's different. Same pure cocaine straight out of Colombia.
Like no,
They're flaking it off with razor blades. Like the purest fucking brick cocaine, that the shit that fucking Peter Frampton used to snort in the 70s. Peter, I don't know if you did coke. I'm sorry. I should have said somebody else.
You did.
Who would be a good reference?
you did.
He might have.
You did.
Who would
And
be
the
a
good
good
shit.
reference? Who definitely snorted coke in the 70s?
In the 70s, fucking John Travolta
Oh, yeah. He must have.
off of some guy's back.
Whoa!
It was a massage. It was a massage.
Snorting coke and getting massages.
I tried coke once,
Yeah?
and it lives up to the hype,
Does it?
bro. Have you ever done coke?
No, I have not. The singer-songwriter's career of intense highs and devastating deceptions is explored in a revealing new memoir. Peter Frampton, I was kept high. If I needed cocaine, he made sure I had it. Hey, bitch, that's your fault. Yeah. I don't like that.
Oh, he
I don't like
forced
that
me.
kind of talk.
He forced
I
me.
don't like that kind of talk. I
Breathe
was
out of your
kept
mouth.
high. No. Unless they were holding you down and making you snort it off that stripper's tits, then there's no fucking way that you could say that they did that to you, sir.
Subscribe to Biggest Influences today.